Hi, this is Kelsey from the future. I just want to apologize for some of the audio in this episode. It can get very echoey sometimes. So please bear with us. This is the first time we're giving this a try. We are not professionals. So thank you for being patient with us and thank you for listening.
Live from our dining room table in the middle of our one-bedroom apartment, it's the DCOM duo. I'm Benji,
I'm Kelsey.
and we're the DCOM duo.
Wow.
You are listening to the
This
DCOM
come
duo.
duo.
Uh,
Welcome to our very first episode.
yeah, we
I'm
only
so
got
excited.
114 plus, probably, I'm gonna guess, 12 more after that because of additional DCOMs that'll come out in the remaining 4 years. I don't know.
Yeah, just in case you don't know what's going on here, Benji and I have decided that we are going to watch every single Disney Channel original movie and make podcasts about every episode.
Yeah, I like how you say that as if it's something that we just decided to do, as if we have never seen any Disney Channel
Yeah,
original
never.
movie, and now that we've already rewatched every single one in the last 2 years.
Of course not.
To date the podcast a little bit, everybody needed a COVID hobby. It's the pandemic. Your brain is sad. You need social comfort, so we just watched a lot of DCOMs with our friends, and then eventually watched every single one.
Yeah, it took 2 years. If you want more details about us, go listen to our episode 0 because we talk just more about ourselves, so it's not clogging up
Yeah.
this episode, which of course is about Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. That is what we're starting with. That was the first DCOM we watched in our original marathon, so we thought that we would honor that here and make it our first episode of our podcast.
Yeah, it's a weird movie, honestly, to start with, because rewatching it recently, I don't know if you got the same vibe as me, but it doesn't feel as decom-y as it felt the first time I watched it.
Yeah, it was such a weird choice
It's
to be the
definitely like
first.
a B movie. It's
Yeah.
definitely like a cheesy made-for-TV movie,
Yeah.
which those are very synchronous. They're very similar to what a decom is,
hmm
but it's not equivalent, and there's a lot of differences between this and the classic decom formula. So it's an interesting one for us to start with here.
Yeah. I like that it's very fitting for October because we're starting here in October. It's a very Halloween movie.
Oh yes, there it takes place on Halloween. I believe it says on the poster I
Does
have
it
pulled
take
up here.
place on Halloween?
Maybe I don't think it takes place on
I don't
Halloween.
think it does.
I
I
don't
think
think it
it's
does.
just
It's
about
just in
vampires.
I saw carved pumpkins. There's definitely like spooky season stuff going on, but it's just probably October.
Yeah.
It's definitely October.
They never mention it being Halloween, but there is the Harvest Festival going on, so
Mhm.
it's definitely fall, probably October.
And they definitely had cuts of jack-o'-lanterns.
Gotcha.
And the movie came out on Friday the 13th.
I was gonna say that.
I
That's part
just
of my
saw that on the
facts.
poster.
All right, well then let's jump into our factos.
Yeah.
Is what I'm gonna call it because when I was typing in my notes instead of facts, I accidentally typed factos, and I like it. So
I mean,
here,
isn't that how all great things start?
yeah. So here, welcome to the DCOM duo factos.
Sponsored by no one yet. If you
No
want
one yet.
if you want your business to sponsor us, please reach out. We'll take money.
Yeah. All right. So this was the 22nd DCOM total. It was released on Friday the 13th in the year 2000. So how old are you? How old were
9/11
you then?
world.
I was like 2 years old.
I would have been a couple months past 1.
Nice. Yeah. So we were little babies. I had not watched this movie before the marathon at all.
No,
I never heard of it.
I actually, I remember when we watched it the first time, and I remembered it this time again. I definitely had clips of it on.
Interesting.
As a child, like my sister really liked Disney Channel,
Mm-hmm.
so there was a lot of times I would just have Disney Channel on in the background while I'm doing something else. And this movie was definitely on at some point. I never sat down and watched it until we started our marathon,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the second time I watched it.
Great. All right. So Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire was directed by Steve Boyum. He has directed a couple other Disney Channel original movies.
Okay.
He directed Johnny Tsunami,
Banger.
Stepsister from Planet Weird,
Banger.
and Motocross.
You know what? Not bad.
Pretty good lineup, honestly. Don't know why he didn't direct the sequel to Johnny Tsunami.
It took place that came out
It
like
was so
years
much
later.
later,
They
yeah.
probably would have done it better. Not to spoil that podcast right
Yeah,
now,
we'll
but
we'll get into that later. But just also
in a couple of years.
he's also directed some TV shows, or at least episodes of
Mhm.
TV shows, such as Supernatural, NCIS, Hawaii Five-O, The Boys, and also, okay, the show called Revolution. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but it was on NBC. And I watched it. It got canceled after like season 2 on a cliffhanger.
I don't
And
think I know this
it
one.
was
Wait, was that
very
the one
good.
where like they run out of power?
Yeah, the whole
Holy
power, the
shit.
power is like out of the entire planet.
I I can't believe I pulled that like knowledge out of
Yeah,
my brain.
she watched it. And I liked it, even though it kind of was bad, but
You know what made me remember that was what it was about? Isn't the logo like the text? It has like a power symbol. It's the O.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, something
And
like
like the
that.
girl had a crossbow, which was cool. It's right around Hunger Games.
Hunger Games has such an impact on media just
Oh
in
yeah.
general.
Yeah, so she had a crossbow, which is like equivalent to a bow. Anyway, oh, also the director is a stunt performer. So I thought that was cool.
He's really
He's
dipping his toes
cool.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm mainly surprised by The Boys on that list because that means he's
Yeah.
still doing stuff.
Yeah.
And like
I don't know how
The Boys
much.
is one of the biggest TV shows right now. So even if he did a single episode of The Boys, that means
Yeah.
he was trusted for one of the biggest TV shows right now.
Yeah, I don't know how much of The Boys he did, but it's pretty cool. So,
Gotcha.
all right. So, the cast that we have. Our main character, Adam, is played by Matt O'Leary.
Mhm.
He hasn't really done anything else that I recognize. Same with his sister, who plays the sister in the movie, Chelsea. She's played by Laura Vandervoort. Um, didn't recognize anything else that she's been in.
Vandervoort.
Yeah. All right. Now we have the mom, who we do definitely recognize. She is played by Caroline Rhee. She is in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the
Mhm.
old one, not the new
Not the new
Netflix
one.
one, the old one. She was in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She was like the German hotel manager across the street, so
Yeah.
she wasn't in it a lot.
Not a regular, but like a regular
Yeah,
irregular.
like I definitely recognize her 'cause I'm like, oh, I've seen her in Sweet Life. Also, what I learned just from doing my research for this podcast, she voices the mom in Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb might have the TV show with the most amount of DCOM actors in it.
Because it's really all DCOM actors,
Even if
really.
you disclude the Phineas and Ferb
Well,
DCOM,
actually, no, the Phineas and Ferb, the guys who voice those
they
two
don't do
are, no,
anything.
they're not DCOM
It's just
guys.
everyone
But
else.
like, you got Ashley Tisdale, what's his name that was also in Hannah Montana?
Uh, not Mitchell
It's
Musso.
Mitchell
It is
Musso.
Mitchell Musso.
Mitchell
He
Musso,
plays
he voices
Jeremy.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
yeah. And Allison Stoner
Hmm.
was in Camp Rock. Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to get into Phineas and Ferb right now, but she's the mom in Phineas and Ferb, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it totally makes sense. It totally sounds like her. Like, blew my mind. Okay, Dimitri, who's the vampire,
Hmm.
he's played by Charles Shaughnessy. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing
Shaughnessy.
that. Shaughnessy?
Pretty sure
Okay.
Shaughnessy.
Yeah, I'm not a professional. I just Google stuff.
I mean, that's
But
what
yeah.
professionals do.
Okay, so I knew I recognized him somewhere. Can you guess what he's been in that I know?
Glee.
No.
That's usually the
That
answer.
that is not the answer. He was in Days of Our Lives. I'm like, oh my god, he totally was in Days of Our Lives. He played Shane, I think his name was. Probably in an era mostly before the time I watched Days of Our Lives. I don't watch it anymore.
I
It's
like his
sad.
performance in this movie. Jumping a little bit into the context of this, I liked him as the vampire. I felt like he
Yeah,
made it really fun
he is
and
fun.
silly.
Yeah. No, he did
For a
good.
character that I don't know if I really love the way he's written, I really liked the way he was performed. It just kind of was fun. So
Yeah, he definitely had fun with it,
yeah,
which is all you can ask for a silly TV movie like this,
yeah.
you know. The little brother Taylor, he was played by Miles Jeffrey.
Hmm.
Apparently he's also in Stepsister from Planet Weird. So I
Interesting.
don't know who he is in that. I didn't deep dive into that. We'll get to that when we talk about
That could be
Stepsister.
next week. That could be 4 years.
Yeah, we don't know what we're watching next week, so maybe it'll be Stepsister. I don't know. We'll see. And then lastly, we have Van Helsing, who's our
Mhm.
vampire hunter. He is played by Robert Carradine. He is the dad in Lizzie McGuire. And also he
There you
was
go.
the lead nerd in Revenge of the Nerds. So pretty cool.
Honestly, more. Well, I guess it's a more adult-centric cast, so that's why it makes sense. Just if you're gonna cast someone who's an adult, they already have to have a body of work, whereas kid actors, they often don't have a major body of work. So I guess I shouldn't be that surprised that in a more adult-focused movie, where there are three adult main characters, that the cast has other acting credits.
Yeah, for sure. That
Uh,
they've done more stuff.
I'd like to point out Miles Jeffrey, the little brother, does not have a Wikipedia page
At all?
at all.
Interesting.
Or at least it's not linked on Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, which is probably his biggest role.
Yeah, other than Stepsister from Planet Weird, obviously. My guess, just bold prediction right now, it might not be that bold. He's one of like the boyfriends in Stepsister from
I don't
Planet
know
Weird.
how many years after this.
I don't know either.
Mom's Got a Date. He probably was like, "Hey, I remember liking this kid when I directed."
Exactly.
Mom's
It's the
Got a
same
Date.
director.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Give him a call.
All right. I'm gonna click my link for the fun facts. All right. Fun fact about this movie: Caroline Rhee and Charles Shaughnessy, Shaughnessy, who played Lynette and Dimitri. Lynette is the mom. They, in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, season 5, they went on a date. Incredible.
So Mom's got 2 dates
Mom's got
with
2
the
dates.
same vampire.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got here. There's some like just behind the scenes stuff of like, oh, did you notice that the rockabilly band in the club is named the Royal Crowns? Cool.
I don't really care.
Yeah, there's not really anything else interesting.
Gotcha. Do you want to give the people at home a quick little plot synopsis?
Of course. You know what we're gonna do every week is read the Disney Plus description, because honestly, they always do the movie justice. They always get us hyped.
It's really funny. Some of them go a little too far into like acting like everything's super dramatic, and it's pretty great.
Yeah. All right. So here is the Disney Plus description for Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. The Hanson kids are in a jam. Adam and his friend Duffy have gotten their hands on some tickets for a concert, and his sister Chelsea has a date with her dreamy boyfriend. The only problem is they're both grounded. Chelsea and Adam will do whatever it takes to get their mom out of the house, even if it includes a chance meeting with a very mysterious man. Everything seems to go according to plan, until their little brother realizes that this stranger might be a vampire.
It's weird. I'm reading the Wikipedia article right now. It's almost identical to the first paragraph of the plot in here. Let me read this out. All right.
All right.
13-year-old Adam Hansen and his best friend Duffy have some tickets for the Headless Horseman concert, and his sister, 16-year-old Chelsea, has a date with her dreamy boyfriend Peter.
He's so dreamy.
They both have dreamy
He's
in it.
so dreamy.
I also like to point out and pin a note in this: we never see him. The entire movie.
See him. We never see the boyfriend.
He doesn't have a voice. He doesn't have anything. We just hear
Has
her.
a name.
He has a name.
His name is Peter.
Yeah. The only problem is they are both grounded. Adam is punished because he did not do his homework, instead making up a story from the magazine The Weekly Secret.
So basically it gives more details about
it goes on more, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's really similar. I bet Disney Plus just looked at the Wikipedia and just like cut it down.
It's one or the other.
Well, I think the Wikipedia came first.
Well, I mean, this could easily have been like a TV description.
I suppose.
I don't know. I don't remember the days of TiVo if it had pre-written descriptions for all these. I think it did.
It probably did.
So they probably just have that data and copy it over.
Yeah. All right. Shall we jump into the movie now?
I think we should jump into the movie.
All right. Let's go. So.
Movie time.
We open in. Right away. It says Mom's got a date with the vampire. The words turn into bats. Incredible.
Fantastic.
Honestly, the like special effects in this movie, incredible.
It is. They do so many more gimmicks than you would expect in a movie like this, where they just they don't have the budget to make them look good, but they still decided, fuck it, we're doing it, and I really appreciate that, because if you're gonna have a DCOM, you're gonna learn, if you're listening to this podcast, we like the camp, we like the silliness, and I want the bad graphics. That's even better than fun, good CGI. If I want to go see good CGI, I'll go pay $10 and go to the movies. Probably more than $10, but
Yeah. If you're gonna watch every single Disney Channel original movie, you have to like bad movies.
yeah.
Otherwise, you're just gonna have a
What are you
miserable time.
doing?
None of these movies are actually good. I mean,
Uh,
I think they are because I love them, but they're not actually
I
quality.
will lampshade that a little bit. I think like five are actually
5 are
good, and
actually
that's
good.
pushing it. But like, there are movies here that I would genuinely recommend to people.
Mhm.
Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, not one of
No,
them.
you have to
That's
like
fine.
bad movies. You have to be ready to be a little bored. You have to be in it for the long haul, and we are.
Yeah,
We've done it before, and we're doing it
I
again.
think both of our favorite DCOMs are ones that we cannot say with a straight face are good movies.
Well, I love Descendants.
I wasn't talking about that one. I'm talking about your
I know
actual
there's
favorite.
hey, I love Descendants. I actually think Descendants is pretty good. But there's another one. I won't say what it is now, but that is very low quality that I love with my entire heart.
And I have another one, and it's the same thing. Is it a good movie? No.
No.
Is it a great movie?
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, it is not good in a way where it's like, it's not good, it's great. I mean,
It's bad.
if you showed that to someone without an appreciation of bad movies, they would hate
They would
the
hate it.
movie.
Yeah. You just have to know what you're getting into with this marathon.
So, Mom's Got a Date, just straight up, it's not one of the five good ones.
No. No. It's pretty mid for a decom.
Like, there's more going on with it than a lot of DCOMs where I can give appreciation to that, but there's too much blank space and too much time left.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back
All
to the
right.
beginning.
Yeah. So far we've talked about the opening title. So we cut in and there's like a horse-drawn carriage. They stay on this horse-drawn carriage for so long.
We're running the opening
The
credits at
opening
this
credits, which
time.
like yeah, it makes sense because they're doing opening credits. But how long do I have to watch this horse pull a carriage? Too long, honestly. There's also a lot of spooky organ music going around, which I really appreciate. Honestly, throughout the whole movie.
Music in this movie is quite fun.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
There's times where they're just like playing rock music in the background and
Yeah.
you're like jamming out. And it's
Yeah.
like, more movies need to just go away with kind of theming the emotions and just doing like classy piano music and just go with something more silly. It's a B movie. It's a DCOM. You're not going to like win an Oscar for this. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with it.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're like down for a Halloween decom, this one has a lot of good vibes without it actually being on Halloween.
Mhm.
It's just like very spooky vibes, very good organ music.
There are Halloween DCOMs that take place on Halloween that are not nearly as like
Halloweeny.
Halloweeny.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we cut in. They're at the castle of Count Krelski, I believe his name was. And there's a woman who's under a spell by a vampire, and they're having this exchange. And the guy, who's her like the love of her life, probably, he's like, "Come to me, I love you. Snap out of the trance," because the vampire has her under a trance. She comes out of this trance, screams, and then just like runs a little bit to her boyfriend. She's goes like, and then like leaves. So funny the way she snaps out of this trance, honestly.
I'd like to point out this is with extreme vampire voice going on.
Oh yeah.
So, I remember when we were watching this initially, not this last time, I remembered this is a movie within a movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course. It's pretty obvious that this is a movie within the movie.
Well, I remember the first time being like, man, I really hope this action thing isn't something that stays the whole time. And it really isn't.
No, it's not. Yeah, so this was a movie within a movie. We cut to our main character, Adam. He is watching this movie.
This movie is weirdly plot relevant as well.
Oh, they talk about it through the whole movie. The Count Krelski thing.
The specific movie.
Yeah. Because this is how Adam knows so much about vampires. He's like super into vampires. So Adam's watching this movie and his sister comes in. Her name is Chelsea. And the phone rings. On the phone is her very dreamy boyfriend, Peter.
Very dreamy.
He's so dreamy. I wish I knew what he looked like.
I got to see him. Kelsey didn't. I got to see him off camera. We had a whole backstage pass thing. He's so dreamy.
He's so dreamy. I wanted to see him, honestly. And Adam, okay, so Adam's watching the movie and his sister's on the phone and he's like, "Hey, do you mind I'm watching this movie?" You know what she does? She fucking mutes the television.
It's simultaneously a super just mean move, but also just kind of a hilarious one. I wish I.
Bitchy.
It is. It is. Like, there's no doubt about it, but it's kind of a pro gamer move.
So mean. And then she's on the phone. She's like, "My dumb brother is watching a movie. Oh, he's such a dweeb."
Yeah, all he's doing is literally watching a movie.
First.
Yeah, and I understand the phone's there, and there's a whole thing about technology where it doesn't feel like this would be an issue nowadays, but with the phone. But it was a non-corded phone.
Yes. Also, they established later that she has a cell phone.
Why?
Why was she here? It makes me mad. Okay. Also, while this is going on, their little brother Taylor is hiding behind the couch and he's watching the movie. And he's definitely not scared.
He's scared.
He's scared. The mom comes in and she's like, "Oh, why are you letting me watch this movie?" And like he wasn't, unless he was. Maybe he knew Taylor was behind the couch.
Hmm.
I don't know. But they have this exchange that I thought was funny where um the kids go, "Ugh, moms," and then the mom goes, "Ugh, kids," and then Taylor goes, "vampires."
I feel like they didn't even like really stress that as a joke.
I think it was funny.
It was funny. No, I completely agree.
I was funny because it was cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a good joke?
No,
It's
no.
a DCOM joke.
Oh my gosh! And the mom was like, "You know how I feel about PG movies. It means parental guidance. Like this movie.
You need guidance from the parental.
Parental. This movie's only PG.
It probably came out at a time when PG-13 didn't exist. Well, that means it probably would have been maybe PG-13. The kids, as we will soon learn, 8.5. Like,
It is 8.5.
he is very close to the age where he's just gonna be able to watch that, assuming it's PG-13. But legally, he's completely allowed. And I understand you're a parent trying to protect your kids. This mom may be too protective, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, Adam goes upstairs. He's reading some tabloids.
Why? Yeah, I told you to make a note of this.
He has tabloids.
What kid have you ever met that just reads tabloids? Maybe
Vampires.
I guess I know he loves vampires, but as we'll see later, like he pirates or plagiarizes
Plagiarizes it.
this whole tabloid as a history report. He uses this tabloid. This tabloid is used for everything, and
They reference it throughout the whole movie. Same with the movie. It's like the movie that they reference and the tabloid is like throughout the whole movie. This is how they get their vampire lore.
it's kind of crazy. Just how I'm just still stuck on the fact that what kid probably he had to buy the tabloid.
Yeah, probably.
Did he just go to a gas station and say, "Oh, vampires"?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly. That's exactly what he did. This was the year 2000. He had to go out and like get some entertainment. Anyway, we have this scene where his mom comes in, and it's established that she's divorced from his dad, and she starts, trying to gear herself up. She has this whole speech prepared about how the dad is getting married, and Adam reveals that he already knows about it.
And so does his brother, and so does his sister.
His brother is going to be the grooms or the ring bearer.
Yeah,
he's going to be the ring bearer, and the mom, you can just see like the defeat on her, like, "Oh, you already know." And Adam goes, "Yeah, you didn't know?" She's like, "Nope."
Is it some sort of joint custody? Because I was trying to figure that out.
It's probably like every other weekend.
Like he gets it every other weekend, she gets it the rest of the time.
Yeah, that's usually how custody agreements
it's
go.
probably something like that because they need some ties to still have that relationship. But
yeah, but like, what a dick move to like. Maybe it's not.
Maybe like
the fact that she didn't know at all and she felt like she had to like prepare herself to tell her kids about it when like they already know. He should have had a conversation with his ex-wife.
I mean, maybe it depends how far away this is. This could have been, assuming that it's the father gets the kids every other weekend. We have a weekend in this film. This could have been something that they told him last weekend when he proposed.
Well, didn't she mention that there was like a wedding invite?
Oh,
Isn't that how she found out?
That was right.
He doesn't like tell her directly. He sends a fucking invite.
Yeah, that's kind of a dick
That's
move.
a dick move.
I'd like to point out After this point, the dad is not mentioned a single time.
No. We're just kind of establishing that, like, the mom is kind
Mom is
of,
able to be dateable.
yeah, she's able to be dateable. She's kind of like iffy on relationships. She's had her heart broken, probably. Her ex-husband's getting
She's
married.
dated no one since.
Yeah, I don't think she has. Yeah.
But yeah, the son then, if I remember right, just goes like, "Mom, you the bomb."
He goes like, "You're still the bomb," and I thought that was really cute.
It's definitely the high point of their relationship for the rest of the movie.
Well, I like that they still try and save her throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's no question of the love between them, but there's a reason for some love lost, as we can get to.
Yeah. All right. So next bunch of scenes, we have Adam going to school. He talks to his douchey friend. Okay, what was his name? Duffy? That's what it said in the
It
description.
said Duffy.
I did not catch his name in the movie at all.
I don't know if they say it.
They probably do. I just did not catch it. Whatever. His friend's a douchebag.
His friend is bad. Mainly, I don't think the kid's a good actor,
No, of course not.
which I think the other kids in this movie do a good enough
Yeah,
job for a
they're pretty good.
DCOM.
Yeah.
This kid, like, he cannot deliver his lines. Jake Epstein, that's his name according to Wikipedia. If you want to come on the podcast and defend yourself, feel free.
Yeah,
But
please do.
until you do, you kind of sucked in this role.
Okay, so this is when they're in the classroom and the teacher goes like, "Who wants to share?" And a bunch of kids raise their hand and she goes, "Oh, all the usual kids." And then like she's like, "Let's hear from someone else." Adam, read your essay in front of the whole class. This is bullshit.
I'd also like to point out the title of this is Who I Admire Most. There could be some secret revealing things that are more like parent or student teacher confidential.
Is this assignment supposed to be you read it out loud in front of the class?
Maybe.
Maybe it is.
Maybe
Maybe
it
it's supposed
is.
to be like a presentation. But there were so many kids that volunteered, and for her to like pick on this kid.
I mean, that is something you're kind of supposed to do in teaching, but it also,
But
from a
why-
student perspective,
Why ask for volunteers then?
see if anyone was excited about the project that isn't one of the usual
I
suspects.
guess.
But it seemed like everyone really raised their hands, so who were you looking for? The kid you were going to pick on?
Probably. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think the teacher is that great. Maybe she's not the worst. But
This is like her only scene.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get to see her whole teaching. We just need established plot. She's only here for plot.
yeah. So anyway, Adam has that same magazine he was looking at earlier, and he just starts blatantly plagiarizing it.
He was reading it instead of doing his homework.
Yeah. And
So-
he didn't do the assignment. And then he straight up tells the teacher, like, "Oh, look, it's in this magazine." Because she goes, "Are vampires like even real? Is this even real?" And he's like, "Yeah, look." And he just shows her the magazine.
I would, going off that for a second, a lot of people just are fine with vampires existing. Like, they have some pushback against it, but it's no overarching, vampires aren't real.
Teacher was like, "That's not real."
Yeah.
And Adam's like, yeah.
And I guess
think-
everyone else that matters kind of has some evidence.
I
to
don't
point
think
towards
Adam
it.
really believes it either, but he's just like, it's a hobby. Like it's an interest of his. He likes vampires. Yeah, vampires are
Have a
cool.
hobby.
Yeah, he can have interests. All right. So anyway, we go back to the friend. The friend's like, "Oh, I have backstage passes to the
Oh, no,
concert."
not that exactly. It's my brother who works at a radio might be able to get us some backstage
Yeah.
passes. They leave us in the air and then like a couple scenes later say, he got them.
Yeah, he got
They could
'em.
have just they could have cut the brother out, but I guess they just want to make the brother look cool.
I don't know why. I guess they had to explain how the friend got the tickets.
Yeah,
And it's
and
pretty
why he
good
would just
reason.
invite him.
Yeah. It's so nice of the brother.
It's
by
very
the
nice.
way.
And the brother's gonna drive them too.
Yeah, and like just take him because I think he knows that they're fans of this band.
Or later in the movie, our main character Adam, he's going through his wardrobe and he has 5 shirts of this
Yeah,
band.
you pointed that out.
5.
He
Like,
loves this band.
how many things do I think I own one thing? No, 2 things in this house that is I have 5 articles of clothing referencing.
Like, and that's sports teams, yeah?
The Vikings and the Twins.
Yeah, well,
And
that
the Twins, I'm
makes
not
sense.
confident I have
You have a
5.
lot of shirts those are way easier to find
Yeah.
than like a band.
Do you have anything you have 5 pieces of clothing referencing?
Absolutely not.
Just Old Navy.
Yeah, just a clothing brand with some basic t-shirts, yeah. Anyway. So the history teacher totally snitches on Adam. He calls the mom. saying that he didn't do the assignment and that he made up a story from the Weekly Secret. So that's the name of the magazine
Hmm.
or whatever. So the mom's pretty mad. And she says, the rule in this family is that if you don't do your homework, you're grounded.
So he gets
Fair enough. So he
grounded,
gets
and
grounded.
he can't go to this concert,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and so the mom's just kind of like, you're grounded, you can't go. And he starts trying to negotiate with her, like, hey, ground me for the week. Just let me go to the concert, and then you can ground me for the whole week.
I'm like, okay, I'm not a parent yet. I maybe would be a bad parent for saying this, but like, he's got 5 shirts of this band in his closet. Let him go and punish him
And
later.
it's not actually a punishment.
But like, this is a once in a lifetime thing for him.
I
Like,
would make him like do more chores around the house
yeah,
instead of just grounding him. I'd be like, all right, you got to clean up the whole place. You got to get all your homework in. Like, make it in kind of a bad way benefit me more, like benefit the house and like work extra hard if I'm gonna let you do this because he did break the rules. He didn't do his homework.
and yeah, no, not doing your homework's a bad thing. I just maybe this is a me thing, but I feel like grounding is just a bad punishment.
Yeah.
I feel like it never is gonna really stop someone other than if they just need more time in their life, in which case you gotta intervene in a different way.
Yeah. So while this is all happening, Chelsea is like, kind of snickering the whole time, like, "Hi, you're such a loser. You're such a dweeb." Like even as he's leaving, and the mom goes, "You know what? You're grounded too. Just for like making your snarky comments. You're grounded too, Chelsea."
Same level of punishment as cheating on your homework.
I think she deserved it.
She wasn't being nice, and she's been nothing but mean this entire movie.
Yeah, so far.
But she has that date with Dreamy Peter.
Dreamy Peter. Now what is she gonna do? So they go upstairs and like immediately they hash out this plan. There's like 2 seconds that go by and Adam's like, you know what we gotta do? We gotta get mom a date so she gets out of the house.
I don't think I realized how quick it happens. You're right. They go upstairs and they go like, "Grr, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Oh man, we need mom out of the house. Let's get her a date.
Yeah.
Oh, who's gonna be an eligible man? Let's look at the tabloid."
And she's like, are you sure this guy's gonna be creepy? And he's like, they're approved by the newspaper. Literally, one of them it says he's incarcerated.
Yeah.
Approved by the newspaper? This guy's in jail.
I would also like to point out, for the rest of this movie, this means that Dimitri, our vampire,
Yeah.
put out this ad
Yeah, he put out the ad.
into the newspaper.
This is how he gets women.
The same newspaper that ran the article about the vampire hunter.
It's the same one.
It is.
You think so?
He flipped through it.
All right.
I'm pretty dang
All
sure.
right.
And it's they go through the incarcerated guy who sounds like a real catch, but of course you can't really go on a date out with someone in jail, so it makes sense they didn't choose that guy.
Yeah. So they choose this guy whose name is Wolfsbane.
Mm-hmm.
And it says he hates Italian food and turtlenecks, and I thought that was funny.
No, the whole ad was pretty fun. It's
It
just
was funny.
how many stereotypical vampire things can we put into
Yeah.
a single Tinder profile?
Yeah, and it talks about how he loves moonlight strolls and it's like very romantic. And they're like, "Ooh, this guy sounds good." So what they do is they send him an email and they say, so right now it's Friday night. The concert is tomorrow on Saturday.
Yep.
So what they do is they write this guy an email saying, "Hey,
No, I
come
don't think
to the grocery store right now. Like come to the grocery store
it is that
tonight."
night,
Yeah,
isn't it?
literally,
Wow.
like why they expect this guy to first of all see this email, second decide, yeah, I'm going to go to the grocery store right now to meet this woman because her kids want me to meet her. It's ridiculous, but it works.
They send out the email and
Oh
then
my
we
gosh, cut to the fucking
best scene in
mansion.
the movie.
Oh, it's so funny. So they send the email and it cuts to the coffin and there's a computer like on a desk right next to the coffin and the organ music is playing and the coffin lifts up and he reaches his hand out of the coffin to like check his email. It's so funny.
It's so good. I think it just really is accented by it being the old computer style, like Windows 95 operating system. It's great.
Forgot to right away, like the first shot of the mansion, the fireplace lights up by itself. It's incredible.
It's excellent.
It's cinematic.
The movie
masterpiece.
never wants you, the viewer, to doubt that this guy's a vampire.
No.
Not for maybe like 5 seconds when you're like, was this the same guy that checked the email? And then you see him turn into a bat.
We'll get there. Okay. So now they go to the supermarket. And the way they convince the mom to go to the supermarket is it's freaking Adam. He's like a master manipulator. He tells his mom, he's like, "Hey mom, remember when we used to make pancakes? That was the last time I was happy."
And the mom like, we have everything for pancakes.
Do we have chocolate chips?
And then the sister's like, oh, I get what you're doing. I always
I always
wanted
the
chocolate chips. Like, that's the last time we were really happy as a family.
And so the mom is just this poor mom is like, okay, let's go to the supermarket.
She gets just completely emotionally
Oh
manipulated.
my god.
By the way,
This
want
poor
to
single mother.
want to shout out Adam for that. Like throughout this whole movie,
Oh, he's so good.
He's one of the best active DCOM protagonists
He's
in terms
just
of
like
getting shit done.
him and the kid from Full Court Miracle. We will get there, but
And
like
also,
they're
like,
both really good at
Life is
manipulating.
Rough, Kyle Massey.
Oh, yep, he's really
They're
good
all
too.
very good.
They're all the same type of
They
character.
got good social games.
Oh yeah, for
They
sure.
get people to do what they want without them realizing they're doing them a favor.
Yeah. So anyway, they go to the supermarket and they see this guy in a trench coat and like an Indiana Jones hat.
First off,
What?
I had something I want to mention about this.
Oh, what?
They go to the supermarket and they're like, oh, we got to go find the guy here.
Wolfsbane.
We're going to go just investigate all these people to see if he's here. They don't ask, hey, are you Wolfsbane? They go up to people and they're like, hey, do you like Italian food?
Literally, and they're just like, he has to be here. Nope. Doesn't. You sent him an email like 20 minutes ago. Why isn't he here? Like, I can't believe their logic throughout this whole thing, honestly.
It shouldn't work, but it's kind of greater than it does.
Yeah, so this guy walks in with a trench coat and like an Indiana Jones hat. And you're led to believe that this is Wolfsbane. Yeah.
It's not.
It's not, but this is what the movie wants you to think right now. So they see that guy and they're like, oh my god, that's totally him. But then all of a sudden, bam, this guy hits his shopping cart against the mom's.
Popping out of nowhere.
Yeah, popping out of nowhere. He hits his shopping cart against the mom's shopping cart. He's British. He's nice. He starts high key. Yeah, he's a doctor. He's an ER doctor.
Trauma specialist, I believe.
Ooh. He starts like high key flirting with the mom. Right away.
It looks cute.
Yeah, and so Chelsea and Adam are like, this isn't Wolfsbane. What are we gonna do? And Chelsea's like, well, he's flirting with the mom and asking her out for tomorrow night. Like, let's do it. Let's go with it. Why would we go with the other guy?
Adam is weirdly defensive, like, oh, we gotta break them up to go get Wolfsbane.
Yeah, whatever.
At this point, that makes no sense.
Yeah. So the guy says his name is Dimitri Dentatos, something like that, and he says it's Romanian, but I found this in the fun facts. It's actually a Greek name, so they messed up.
I would like to point out during their flirting session, Taylor, I believe that's the name of the youngest kid, goes, grabs a piece of candy, just this is all like in the background, puts it in the shopping cart.
And then he comes back and he grabs like 10 of them, and then the mom catches him and goes, But yeah, this is totally happening in the background. It was really funny. So yeah, Dimitri's like totally sweet talking all of them. He even mentions that like he loves that vampire show that Adam loves. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he asks the mom out for tomorrow night, and she goes, "You know what? Why not? I could use a date."
Which is, she kind of has to get goaded a little into it by her kids. Later on, she has to get goaded into it hard by her kids, but no, I think it's the fact that the dad's getting married and she's like, I gotta move on.
Yeah. So I also want to mention that the trench coat guy, when he walked in, he like walked in very all dramatic. He's in his trench coat and he goes, "Come to Papa." And then later we see him on the phone. He's like, I don't know where he is. Like he's looking for something. Ooh. I don't care how he straight up says he's looking for a vampire. He's like, I'm looking for the vampire. So.
Yeah. And then as they leave, we get a very pivotal scene of Taylor looks back at Dimitri, who just drops his groceries. He walked out with his bag of groceries, dropped them, looks back. Does he look back at?
I think he kind of looks around, but he doesn't see Taylor.
Yeah. And then turns into a bat. Into a, like, it starts a giant and then it flies away at normal size. So it's just like, obviously, they took a picture of him and they anamorphed him into a bat. And it's incredible. immediately we get in the trope of the dumbest character, which only by age in this case.
Yeah, the youngest, most naive character.
Yeah, not knowing something that they can't convince everyone else is true.
Yeah.
And honestly, we don't get that for that long.
Oh, but
It
it
goes a
is.
normal amount of length where
Yeah.
you're like, no, that's a logical makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, we get this little side plot of Adam needing to get his ticket back because he told his friend that he can't go anymore. And so
This side plot is dumb.
it's pretty dumb. So we'll just kind of briefly go over it. His friend Duffy gave his ticket to a guy named Boomer, and Boomer bullies them. So what Duffy's trying to do is just like get in good with the bully. Yeah.
Which, fair enough, fine. These guys, not enough scenes. There, all it is to set up the fact that he trades a date with his sister
Yep.
away for
Yep.
the ticket.
So he's like, I want to go out with your sister. And Adam's like, yep, I can do that for you. And then he goes, I want to kiss her. And Adam's like, I can't really promise that. And Boomer's like, well, then I guess you don't want your ticket. And so Adam's like, okay, fine. And then he goes, I want to kiss her on the lips. And he's like, oh, yeah, fine, whatever. So
I honestly, the whole time, I think Adam's just not planning to do this.
no, like, and he tried to get out of it, so at least he's like, trying to respect her consent in the beginning, but then he kind of promises her mouth away, and that's not cool.
No, my idea behind this is he's agreeing to get the ticket,
And he'll just screw him over
he's
later.
just gonna screw him over later.
Yeah.
Like it's a, I will figure my way out of this later. I need that ticket now.
Yeah.
And this is as good as I got.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, so now we have Taylor has seen the bat, right? He's seen the vampire, and he starts asking Adam. He's like, so if a guy like turns into a bat, does that mean he's a vampire? And Adam's like, yeah. And Taylor's like, all right, that guy's a vampire.
He says the line.
Mom's got a date with a vampire. He straight up says it. It's really funny. It's really cute.
Like obviously no one's gonna believe him because who turns into bats?
And Adam starts explaining like, you don't invite them in your house. You gotta hit them with the stake. I think this is why Taylor just kind of smacks him with the stake later because Adam didn't specify.
You gotta stab him.
You gotta like stab him with the stake. Anyway, then he mentions that there's a real life vampire hunter that's like in the tabloid. Back to the fucking tabloid.
Van Helsing.
Yeah, Van Helsing. He's
Van
a real life
Helsing's,
vampire
like
hunter.
always the name of the vampire hunter, right?
I think it is a reference to something.
Because I think that's like I've heard the Van Helsing name before.
Yeah, no, I think that is a reference to some kind of vampire hunter.
Might be Dracula.
Yeah, but anyway, like nobody believes Taylor, so Taylor starts. He's trying to convince them, but he can't really. Yeah. Anyway, Dimitri shows up to the house for the date.
Just Googled it. Van Helsing is the name of the vampire hunter in Dracula.
Oh, perfect.
He has his own movie starring Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing.
That's really cool. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Anyway.
Factos.
Fun factos. So Dimitri pulls up for the date, and he's in like a super nice red car. And we were talking about like, how does he afford that?
Which we get a little bit of answer later. We'll explain it then. But like, we do get a tiny bit of it.
Right.
We get a piece of evidence. I'll bring it up. It's really soon.
All right.
But yeah, he's just got this really nice red sports car. The mom's looking through all of her brown clothing.
I did not think this is a big deal. But while we were watching, BenG goes, oh my gosh, all of her clothes are brown. I'm like, they're just kind of like a creamy beige color.
No, it's fine, but it's just like, she found her color.
It's beige.
It's a directorial choice to be like, she's not willing to try anything new.
Is it? Okay.
And then she wears black for the whole night, so it doesn't even really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She chooses like a black dress. She gets ready for the date, and then Dimitri goes to the door, and they make this so dramatic that he's waiting at the door and he can't come in until Adam says, hey, come on in. Obviously, he's a fucking vampire, which they already revealed that he's a vampire.
We already know this. I don't get why they went as hard as they did on here. Like, they need to do it a little bit, but they basically immediately said, come on in. They didn't verbally say
it. Like, the music makes it so dramatic. Like, he cannot come in the door until he's invited.
Yeah, it's Adam and Chelsea there, and then Taylor's just like watching, peering from the corner upstairs.
Yeah, he's like, that guy's a fucking vampire.
And then Chelsea's like, oh, I'll go get the mom. And then that leaves Adam and Dimitri just standing there awkwardly for
for
a weirdly long time.
Yeah, and then the Chelsea has to go up and she has to like kind of talk the mom into it, like,
I think
hey.
Adam eventually goes up and talks her
Yeah,
into it
because
too.
mom's like super nervous for the date.
She's like, I need to cancel.
She's like, I'm not this woman. Who am I? And they're like, no, you're awesome. You can totally do this. They
Mom.
really want her out of the house because they need to go on their dreamy date and their concert.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that's real and how much of that is just, God, I want my dreamy boyfriend, Peter.
Anyway, the mom starts talking about how she wants to go to the Harvest Festival. And Dimitri's like, oh, but I have this dinner planned. And Adam straight away is like, no, don't go to the Harvest Festival because he's going to the Harvest Festival. He doesn't want to get caught there. So they like talk the mom out of going to the Harvest Festival. They leave for the date. And then like immediately Adam and Chelsea start like getting ready to leave as well. And then we cut to Taylor and he looks in the magazine and apparently right in the magazine is Van Helsing's number, his phone number. I don't know why this is in the magazine, but Taylor gives it a call and it's like, leave your name and address and phone number. Why does Van Helsing need your address?
He needs to know how to come talk to you if you don't respond back and you know about a vampire.
Yeah, whatever. So Taylor like
this
calls.
is what literally happens.
Or maybe he calls later.
No, I think he calls now.
He leaves a message now. I wrote it down. He leaves a message right now for the vampire hunter.
And then after that, he goes biking off.
Yeah.
Alone.
Well, yeah. So he bikes off, but before that happens, we see Van Helsing at the car dealership. And he's like, he's in his trench coat. And he's like, he lights up these footprints.
Okay. All of Van Helsing's, like, find vampire things are so cool.
They're so cool. It's all involving fire.
He's just an awesome pyrotechnic magician. Like, they should just make a magic show out of this.
He puts down, like, charcoal or something, and then he lights it on fire, and it, like, traces the footsteps of the vampire.
Garcia, like, Dealerman was like, what?
Yeah, and he's like, was there a guy that came earlier that paid with cash?
That's the very small piece of evidence right there. Don't know how he got the cash, but he paid in cash.
He paid in cash for this
he
really
doesn't have,
expensive
like, a
sports
bank
car.
account. No. He is probably just stealing it from people.
Okay, maybe he is stealing it. And that guy was like, I knew that guy was weird, the car dealer. He was like, I knew that guy was weird. It's like, dude, who cares? He bought a car in cash.
He bought a big car.
Yeah.
I guess they probably are worried he stole the money and got it, because then they might have to.
Oh, that would suck.
That's probably what it is. You gotta do some checks that you're not stealing money.
Yeah, whatever.
But you know, you don't have to do checks that they're a vampire.
Yeah. Alright, so Taylor bikes away because he's like, I gotta go save my mom. She's on a date with a vampire. And Adam and Chelsea like see him leaving, so they're like, fuck, we gotta go get him. So they both leave to go find their little brother. So they're being good siblings. They're not just gonna let their 8-year-old brother bike off on his own.
For the rest of this movie, they have their priorities in order.
Yeah.
And it's actually really reassuring to see where they never like divert from trying to save their mom or their brother.
Yeah. No, they're doing the right thing for sure.
Which is not always the case.
Nope.
And this is where like this breaks off from DCOM. They would have a whole segment where they're trying to take a little time for themselves in the middle of this extremely traumatizing event. But nope, it's all fine.
It's all good. So cut to Dimitri and Lynette. That is the mom's name, is Lynette. They're on their date, and there's some funny vampire gags where Dimitri's like, I don't drink wine. And then she
tries to order garlic bread, and he goes,
Beatrice is like, do you want garlic bread? And he goes, no. I found it funny. Just vampire stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know.
They're not taking it too seriously.
No, it's funny. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure Adam and Chelsea find Taylor. And the kid's like, oh my gosh. He realizes that they set this whole thing up for the mom to get out of the house so that they can sneak out. And he's like, you guys are assholes. You put mom on a date with a vampire just so you can go to your concert and your date. You guys suck.
Which honestly, partially fair, but also, mom's gotta have a date. Like,
they did it for selfish reasons.
They did it for selfish reasons, but it's something that ultimately benefited her, and they're not. If it was literally not a vampire, it would be viewed as positively.
Okay. Anyway, Adam decides that he's going to convince Taylor that this guy's not a vampire because they're trying to talk him down. Like, Taylor, this guy's not a vampire. I'll go in and I'll prove it because I'm a vampire expert. So they go in and they just like straight up walk up to the table and they're like, "What? What are you doing here?" And Adam is like, truthfully, he's like, Taylor thinks that this guy's a vampire. So we got to prove that he's not a vampire.
Mhm.
And so they're like, how do we prove it? And Dimitri goes, "Oh, why don't we do the spoon test?"
They're like, Adam tells Taylor, like, okay, we gotta go back into. You're gonna go home as long as we prove that he's not a vampire, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
They make a deal.
if he is a vampire, we're gonna go in and go figure that out. And Adam comes up with a really clever lie here, and this is like, he got it was so in his head that he's a vampire. I had to go follow him out. That's why I'm left the house, even though we're grounded.
Yeah.
Um,
Which it's not actually a lie.
no,
Because Taylor left because he thought it was a
it's
vampire.
half truth.
Yeah. And so what Dimitri does is really smart because they could have just done like oh, why don't we get some garlic bread or something? But Dimitri's actually a vampire, so he goes, "Let's do the spoon test."
And Adam, Mister knows a lot about vampires, starts off by going like,
What?
big sus energy. He's like, that's not a thing, and then realizes,
Oh, it's
I
just to
don't
get
care.
Taylor. Yeah, no,
He's
he
not a
gets Taylor.
vampire. Vampires don't exist.
Yeah, for sure.
So he lets it happen.
Yeah, so they do
At
the
first,
spoon test.
even this time again, I thought he was gonna do the thing where you look at your reflection in the spoon, because probably the most famous vampire trope, maybe not. One of the most famous vampire tropes is you can't see the reflection.
In the mirror. Yeah.
And that's eventually how they get him.
Yeah. But yeah, they do the spoon thing where he's like, vampires can't balance a spoon on their nose. If they try, then they explode. Whatever he does, he doesn't explode. And they're like, okay, cool.
And Taylor's like, I'm convinced.
Yeah, Taylor's like, that's good. Because he's 8. He doesn't know. So they're leaving, and there's a mirror in the restaurant. And Adam sees the table in the mirror, and he knows that Dimitri is not in the reflection. And he looks back and forth like 5 times.
It's incredible. There's so many times in DCOMs, I always wish they do the one extra time, and they do it here.
He looks back and forth so much, going, what? What? How does no one else notice?
It's honestly, that's a good question. I guess no one else is specifically looking for it.
That's the thing. It's like right in plain sight. It's like you wouldn't even notice.
Because like there's mirrors, there's reflective surfaces I see right now, and I can't see you in them, but I would assume that's the angle. You got this like perfect angle where you got both his mom and the empty seat in there.
It's kind of weird that there's like this giant mirror in the middle of a restaurant, but whatever.
It exists in
Whatever.
restaurants.
I can let this one go. It was a pretty cool moment of being like, this guy is a vampire.
So then he just safely
gets
Taylor
Taylor
home.
home. I just want to point out that in between like these scenes of finding out he's a vampire and then going home, it fades to red.
That's right, it does.
It faded to red. It was so cool. I love the editing. I love the special effects in this movie.
The graphics team made a movie.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's like the moment you find out that your mom's on a date with a vampire, fades fucking red. It was really cool. I liked it. Yeah. So they go home, and Adam is like, okay, Taylor. Like they got Taylor a sitter, but then Adam pulls Chelsea, and he's like, mom's on a date with a fucking vampire. Like he's a vampire. We have to go save her. Like forget our plans. We gotta go do it. And Chelsea's like, what? No. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's where they kind of leave it for now.
Yeah. We get to see Taylor with
the sitter. Yeah, before that though,
apparently loves, but it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, before that though, it cuts back to the date, and I don't know. This part just kind of like gave me sketchy vibes, but she is a vampire, so whatever. He's like, let's go somewhere quiet, and the mom's probably thinking like, oh, he wants to like hook up with me. And she's getting bad vibes.
For a booty call.
Yeah, he's looking for a booty call, and she's like, let's just go for a walk.
Like the date's not going bad, but also they're not nearly as compatible as they first appeared in the flirting.
No.
And that's been clear through the stages. But yeah, she's like, let's go dancing.
Well, yeah, they mentioned dancing.
Instead of going on that horse.
Apparently, they mentioned dancing when they were in the house because, like, they bring up everybody knows that they're going to go dancing somehow.
I heard it.
Oh yeah, whatever.
But
anyway, Taylor's at home with the babysitter, and he's playing sorry, and he wins. And the babysitter's not really into it. She's on the phone.
She's like, go to bed.
Yeah, she's like, you need to go to bed.
And then Van Helsing shows up the door. He invites him in and goes like, "Hey, babysitter." I don't remember Tiffany.
Whatever.
Like,
Like
hey
it's Van
Tiffany,
Helsing.
and the babysitter's not even that. She's weirded out, but not that weirded
That
out
weirded
by
out.
the fact that
There's an
an
adult man.
8-year-old invited an adult man
She's
into
probably
the
just
house.
assuming that he knows him because he's acting like he knows him. Like, oh, this probably is fine. And then Taylor goes like, "You want a cookie?" He offers Van Helsing a cookie, and he goes, "No, I don't want a cookie."
And I think the babysitter goes like, "Vampire hunter, really?" But like, vampires are real in this universe,
Yeah,
so
and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a vampire hunter." So Taylor's like, "My mom's totally on a date with a
how
vampire."
does the vampire hunter get paid?
I was gonna ask that too.
Is is he like contracted by the government that knows vampires exist but don't want society to know, not have them worry?
Or is it just like a hobby?
But if it's just a hobby, how does he get the money for all this? Just a side job?
Yeah. Kind of like in Supernatural, where they're like hunters, but they just like steal money and shit and commit crimes, but they're saving people in the process. So
Hmm.
yeah, probably like that. Or maybe he's hired by someone. I don't know. Anyway, Taylor wants to like go with Van Helsing, and he's like, "No, you gotta stay here. You're just a kid. Just tell me where they are, and I'll go kill the vampire." So that's where we leave them.
He tells them like they're at this restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, he knew the restaurant they were at. Anyway, the mom and the vampire are walking down the street, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, look at this club! I can't believe this place is still here. Let's go dancing."
It's already pretty established the mom sang in a rock band, and we'll later learn
What?
it was. She when you like when Adam was trying to talk her into going to the dance, it was like you're she used to be in the leader of the rock band.
Oh, okay.
Like
So
it's
that's how
like
they
they
know that specific club. But I just like I did not buy it because everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, she's going dancing." When like the way they frame it in the scene, it was such a spur of the moment
it
thing.
was spur of moment to go there. Um I think there was a different dancing in mind for the vampire. And she didn't know that this place still existed. It is weird that the kids all immediately know that's where it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not all the kids, but we'll get
It's
to
like
that.
a rockabilly place.
Which rockabilly music, not my genre.
No, it's not mine either.
Wish it was a more fun genre for me, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, they go in to go dancing.
The kids get there.
Yeah, Adam and Chelsea get there. They know exactly where they are for some reason. They get there on their bikes.
This is the part of the movie that kind of was the lull for me the
Yeah,
most.
they're at this dance club for a long time.
Like maybe not a physically that long time, but it's just like plot is happening, but plot is happening slowly. Where basically Adam does this thing to try and get the vampire away. Vampire uses vampire powers to get back, and that happens like 3 times in this one
Yeah.
location.
So the first thing Adam tries is he talks to this guy, Jim, and he's like, "Hey, Jim, people are making fun of you because you're not dancing. Like, what, you just gonna stand here and do nothing all night? Go ask that woman to dance." He's pointing at his mom. So Jim goes, "Fuck, you know what? I will go ask that woman to
Another
dance."
point at Adam just convincing people to
Yeah.
do shit.
Yeah. Point for Adam. That's crazy. So Jim goes over and he's like, "Hi, would you like to dance with me?" And the mom goes, "Oh, hey Dimitri, this guy wants to dance with me. Is that okay?" And Dimitri like looks at him and he's like, "Yeah, but wait, are you sure?" And he like mind controls him to like literally like stumble backwards and fall over.
Vampire powers.
Vampire powers.
Which again, if I wouldn't assume that much more of it, I'd be like, that's weird, and then move on.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
That plan failed. Cut to Taylor and Van Helsing. Because Van Helsing's driving in his car, and all of a sudden Taylor pops up in the back seat. He snuck into the car, and and he's like, "Well, I'm here now." And Van Helsing's like, "Get out!" And Taylor's like, "You can't just leave me on the street. I'm 8."
it's a great excuse.
It's a
What
great
like
excuse.
this is very self-aware kid of just being like, no, you can't get rid of me. You're responsible for me. This will look terrible for you.
This is one of our favorite lines when we first watched this movie. Is "I'm 8."
It's a great
It's a great
excuse.
line.
Like, and he uses it again later for perfection. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just jump ahead to that for a second.
So funny.
The scene is just it's literally them in the car again.
Yeah.
The next time they're in the car.
Yeah, because they're like trying to find the mom. She's not at the restaurant anymore, and he goes like, "Oh, the mom wanted to go dancing.
Hmm.
And Van Helsing goes, do you know any places that would be good for that? And Taylor goes, how would I know? I'm 8.
It's such a good excuse.
I'm
Like,
8.
yeah,
It's just like the first time I watched this, I distinctly remember this kid says I'm 8 twice
in
in the
back-to-back
exact same
scenes
scenes
where
that
they're
they're
just
in.
in the car.
Yeah. They're
It's
in the car for so long and he's just like, I'm 8. That's so funny.
it's funny, but it's also like, why did they just do the same scene again? Literally, the two of them in the car do nothing until the climax.
For real.
Literally, like, all
Literally
they do
no.
are chasing the vampire, but they're as far away as they initially were the entire time.
Yeah. Seriously.
Until, like, at the very end, he asks the kid, hey, do you know of any spooky places? And the
Yeah.
kid's like, I do know, despite the fact I'm
Yeah,
8.
we'll get there later. Anyway, so they're back at the club. And Adam, he goes up to the musicians and he like whispers something in their ear. And we find out later that he's telling them that his mom used to sing in a band, and so they should call her up to sing a song. So he's trying to get his
He
mom.
literally whispers this to, like, the bass player
And the
on
bass player's
stage.
like, dope. So this is how he's trying to separate his mom from Dimitri. And it works.
This one works pretty well.
Yeah.
Dimitri's sad because he has to just wait, and he doesn't care about this music. He doesn't care about her as a person.
Not really, no.
He's just trying to get her blood.
For sure.
Um,
So she's singing this song, and honestly, I'm not impressed with this song. It is not
It's
my
not our
jam.
genre.
It's
This
not
is
my genre.
not one of your top 100.
No. She sounds fine. The song is fine, I guess. I found it pretty boring.
It's nothing special.
But she has a great time, and later she mentions that, like, oh my gosh, I haven't sang in 15 years, so it's like it's a cool moment for her.
It's a good moment. It's a big. Her whole character arc in this movie is learning that she needs to go out, even though she just had this extremely traumatizing experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
During this time, Adam's just like, "Hey, bouncer, go kick out this guy. He's been stalking my mom." And
Yeah.
Bouncer's like, "Shouldn't I kick you out?" And he's like, "No, trust me, I'm fine.
He goes,
I'm only
"That's my
here
mom."
because that's my mom. You know my mom, famed singer of I can't remember.
I
the
don't
band's
remember the
name.
man.
But the reason I'm here is this guy's been stalking her,
Mhm.
and the guy's like, "Is he in the club?" And he's like, "Yeah, right there." And they throw him out.
Yeah, no, it works really well.
He's done a fantastic job in this club, and this is where Chelsea, who's been sitting outside, watches him break the bikes with his hands.
Yeah, he like crushes them.
And decides to walk on the walls vertically upwards. He can turn into a bat and fly up, but instead he just decided to walk up the wall.
Yeah, and apparently this is a vampire thing.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this
She
one.
asked Adam, she's like, is that a vampire thing? And he's like, oh yeah, it is.
You watched Twilight. Did anyone in Twilight do that?
I mean, they can run really fast, so actually I kind of have seen it because they run up the wall really fast.
It's a vampire thing.
Walks up the wall. He's like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that part was really funny. Again, with the special effects, I love this movie.
And then from that point on, Chelsea was she's the last person to need to be
fully
convinced.
believes. Yeah, she fully believes now that he's a vampire. So Adam's in the club and he's really proud of himself. The mom like finishes the song. All of a sudden, Dimitri's there, and Adam's like, "What?" He does like a double take. Like, what the fuck? How did he get back in? It's because he climbed up the wall.
Because he's a
came to the ceiling.
vampire.
He's a vampire. So yeah, Chelsea's on board now. They leave
from the roof.
I don't know. Honestly, don't know.
All he did was walk up the outside of building on top of a roof.
Yeah, and then he like got in the vents or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not explained, but it's not that important.
No, it's fine.
It doesn't need to be
fine.
explained. I was wondering out loud there.
Yeah, like how did he actually get in? Well, he got to the roof, so I don't know.
And now they leave, and Dimitri's like, "Can we finally go home?" And mom goes,
"No, I want to go to the Harvest Festival." I don't know if she actually says that, but that is where they go.
So.
And anyway, Adam comes out and Chelsea's like, he climbed up the wall, or he walked up the wall. He's definitely a vampire. We have to go save mom. They don't have their bikes anymore because Dimitri destroyed their bikes. So that's
they don't know where they're going. It's a down moment for our heroic crew.
Yeah.
They figure out because Chelsea's like, "Oh, guys always do what the girl wants. That's what my dreamy boyfriend Peter does." or something. I don't know.
Yeah, she's like, guys want to
So
impress the
she
girl.
wanted to go to the Harvest Festival because she mentioned that.
Yeah.
So good call out on there. And then um Adam's like, oh, but we don't have a trip. Actually, I have this backstage pass. Let me call up my friend and say, let's go to the Harvest Festival because that was our plan.
Yep. Yeah, and this is where I noted too that like it's really nice now that the only motivation these kids have now is saving their mom.
Yeah. Because other movies would have been like, I want to see part of the
Yeah, or at
concert.
least one of them would have been like, "But what about my plans?" And the other kid would have
They
to be
don't.
like, well,
They
"No,
don't
let's save
mention
mom."
this at all.
No, they like are fully like, "We need to save our mom," which is like probably more realistic.
Yeah.
Of like, these kids are worried for their mom. They love their mom. They're gonna save her from this vampire.
Their mom is the bomb.
Yeah, she's the mom. So they call up Boomer and Adam's friend Duffy and his brother, and they get a ride and they're heading to the Harvest Festival. This is where Chelsea finds out that Boomer was promised a date and a kiss with her.
This is the big third act emotional trial between our lead two. Honestly, they fix it pretty quickly.
They do. So they like get to the Harvest Festival, and Chelsea's like, "What the heck, Adam? That was lame of you." And she like storms off. And Adam does say to Boomer like, "Deals off." Like,
It's the
yeah, gives him back
pass.
to say like it's over, like whatever. And he goes up to Chelsea, and she's like, "That was lousy." And he was like, "Yeah, it's a lousy thing to do, but when I did it, things were different. Things were different then. I was different." It was this afternoon.
He literally calls it out.
But he does apologize, and she goes, "All right, fine." She lets it go, which is the right thing to do.
Considering the circumstances, is necessary.
So at least he apologized. I appreciate that he apologized for like not respecting her consent there. Which yeah, we don't know if he actually would have like followed through with it.
There's a whole other story arc there that I'm happy they probably cut because they realized it was boring.
Yeah.
And no one cared about it, so they just put as little as they needed to just explain how they could get a ride to the Harvest Festival.
And just add a little more sibling drama, I guess. Yeah. And also to show that these two are like, making amends with their relationship. They're getting closer, trying to save their mom. So that's good. All right. So Adam steals some walkie-talkies from a security guy.
We'll end up giving them back, but yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, they should get in trouble for doing that. How okay, because
no one was there.
One time, when I was a kid in elementary school, I had some walkie-talkies. Mm-hmm. They were my own walkie-talkies from home, and me and my sister really liked playing with them. Pretending we were like cops and robbers, whatever. Yeah. And I brought them to school one day because I'm like, these are so fun to play with. And we brought them out to recess, and we turned them on, and like the supervisors out on the playground also have walkie-talkies, so we were on the same channel, and they were like, "Give it back!" They were like, "Give it back to your teacher." So I turned them off. And I was like, I was so scared.
They just assumed someone stole them.
Yeah, they assumed that we stole them, which they never knew it was me, so I never got caught. Which they were my own walkie-talkies. I probably wasn't allowed to have them anyway, but so I'm like, these kids should get in trouble. They probably went on a different channel.
I think the court would have found them justified when they're trying to save their mom from murder.
From a vampire?
Yeah. So I think it's a justified.
I don't think they should go to jail. I just think the security guard should be like, "Hey, give it back that walkie-talkie."
They don't know they're gone. It's the thing. No one's in the security when he steals them. He just walks over, grabs two, says channel 3. She goes on a Ferris wheel, spots the vampire.
Which is smart. They split up, which is a cool.
Classic horror.
They just look around. She's up on the Ferris wheel. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I see them." And then we have this scene where the mom starts to reject Dimitri, and I think this is funny because she's like, "Hey, you and I, we're just not the same. I feel like I'm not the woman you want me to be." Anyway, you want to do the bumper cars? She's so hang out with him for the night, but is letting him down. Good time. Yeah.
He's her ride for the night. She's like, "I'm already here. Let's do some bumper cars." Also, we're not dating.
Yeah, but also I'm there's nothing for us here. I don't know, and he gets mad. He starts putting her in a trance, and this is where I'm like, why didn't he do this in the first place?
I was gonna ask the same thing. Because
why
is it just because they taste better if she's seduced?
She's seduced? Why does he need to seduce these women? Also, he mind controlled that guy Why doesn't he just like mind control everybody? And why does he need beautiful women? That's just a vampire thing.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of plot convenience in when he decides to use his powers.
Yeah. Anyway, Adam sees them and he grabs a ball and he throws it at his head, at the
Great
vampire's
aim.
head. Yeah, great aim, honestly.
The vampire turns around
And he
and
goes,
like
he hisses.
he hisses, he sprints on over.
Oh, super speed. He's like super, super fast.
Awesome scene, very campy, very dumb. I love it.
Yeah, they're like basically teleporting from place to place, like because this guy's super fast. He's like pulling Adam everywhere, just like freaking Adam out. And he's like, "There's nothing you can do about it. I'm a vampire kid.
I'm a
Like,
vampire bitch."
and he's like, "There's nothing a 12-year-old snot-nosed boy can do, whatever." And Adam goes, "I'm 13."
This movie loves stating ages.
Yeah, they like the kids love being like, "No, I'm not this old. I'm 13, whatever." Except the kid's like, "I'm 8. Like I'm a kid." So I don't know. I find it funny.
It's funny.
Yeah. So the mom's under a trance, and the vampire leaves with her.
Well, they go to the parking lot to leave. It's assumed that they left, but Adam and Chelsea don't actually see them go.
They're just like they start to leave, and then Chelsea finds Adam, and she's like,
And
"Where's mom?"
Adam's quit.
Yeah, he's defeated. He's like, "We're against a fucking vampire. Like, what are we supposed to do?"
And Chelsea gives the classic pep talk of, "She's our mom. We gotta go down fighting. Yada yada yada."
Yeah, we gotta do
And
it.
they figure out that his house is likely the manor that he talked about in the beginning.
Talked about it earlier. He's like, "Oh, I'm staying at this house down by the lake," and they're like, "Oh, that place is haunted." So of course he loves the creepy house.
So
Yeah,
they decide to get a taxi there.
yeah.
I would like to point out the vampire.
The car doesn't
The
work.
car doesn't work. We don't really get an explanation for this. Before this happens, they were telling Boomer and Duffy, the friends.
Yeah.
Well, Boomer's not a friend, but
Whatever.
whatever. About this, and then we see them see the car and go like, "Oh, I wonder if that's the vampire's car." But that's the only explanation we get. We don't know why this car is broken or why it can be fixed.
Well, it's so plot convenience because then Adam and Chelsea take a taxi to the mansion. First off, why did they take a taxi to the Harvest Festival?
They had a free ride other ways that was maybe on the way. I don't know. It's dumb.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it's dumb. I got no good answer for that one. I think Boomer stole the catalytic converter.
But then it works later.
He stole something, but then the vampire just like magics it fixed.
Magics the car.
It's all off screen.
Whatever. Anyway.
And then this whole time, until like the last minute of the film, the mom's just in a trance and doing nothing.
Yeah, she's fully in a trance. Vampire has control. He's trying to get his car to work. So Adam and Chelsea get to the mansion, and they're like, "Oh, we got here first. Weird." Because they don't know that the car is stalled. Whatever. So what Adam decides to do is find the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
Adam's like, "We gotta find his coffin because what do vampires love? Their coffin." I don't know. And then
he's like a cell phone to a teenager.
Yeah, so he makes this like simile where he's like, "Hey, remember when you had the remote? So I took your cell phone so that you would give me back the remote. Well,
my mom is a TV remote.
Yeah,
mom's
the remote.
With the TV.
Mom's the remote. Cell phone is a teenager, as coffin is the vampire, and mom is the remote.
Solved for vampire.
I don't know why they went this route to.
It's really a simple explanation to just be like, "Oh, this is something that matters to him."
Yeah, we're gonna leverage it. I guess he had to explain it to Chelsea because Chelsea didn't understand for some reason, but okay.
They could have just they could have cut that.
So they throw the coffin out the window because it's really heavy, and they're gonna dunk it in the lake because apparently vampires can't go into water.
That is a thing.
That's the thing.
That is a thing. I've heard of that.
Cool. So
don't know if Twilight has that.
Cut to Van Helsing and Taylor, who we haven't seen in a while. He has this like Satan circle thing. And he like lights on fire.
The little magic tricks are incredible. He does like a little compass rose.
Yeah.
And it's all his candles on the side, and he just like drops a match on it, and it
lights up.
Lights up in the correct direction.
Yeah, and so they know where to go.
It's amazing. I wish they had more of these gimmicks because honestly, other than the I'm 8 and these gimmicks, these characters are pretty boring.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's funny. Anyway, So Dimitri and the mom finally show up at the house because the car is working now, and he says stuff like, "Oh, Linda, welcome to the house. Listen to the wolves."
He really hams up the accent now. He's not faking anymore. It kind of drags
Yeah,
on
he's
the
like,
scene.
"Listen to the wolves. Oh, they're howling," and then he sniffs the air and goes, "Humans."
And then right after he
Smell
goes,
them.
Adam.
Yeah.
He knows Adam's scent specifically.
You can smell them. And then he sees that his coffining is gone, and he has the most dramatic like look up to the sky. No, my God.
And this is, they put it in the lake.
Yep.
Chelsea's hiding.
Yep.
And
Chelsea's
Adam
hiding,
is on the coffin.
which apparently floats.
It's wood.
Yeah, I just figured it. I thought it'd be kind of heavy.
It-
I guess it's hollow inside.
It is hollow. I'm not good enough at physics to like know, but they probably made a real coffin and put it in the water, so probably floats.
Yeah, yeah. And Dimitri's like, "Give me back my coffin," and Adam's like, "Huh, gotcha now. I have
Give
your
me
coffin.
back the remote control.
Give me back my mother, and I'll give you back your coffin." And then Dimitri goes, how about this?" And he finds Chelsea. He can smell her probably. And he grabs Chelsea, and he has her, and he's like, "Okay, now give me back my coffin, and I'll let your sister live."
It's honestly, the plan, they didn't have much time to come up with a plan.
No.
But it was a half-baked plan.
Yeah.
So
They didn't have a lot of time. So. And then they like they're doing this exchange like for a long time, probably too long. And in the middle of it, Chelsea's phone rings, and it's Peter.
He could have said, "Peter, call 911. I'm with a murderer at the old mansion." But no, she doesn't do that.
Dimitri just grabs the phone and like throws it away. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
He throws it behind him. You throw it in the water, but he like throws it behind him.
He's like, "Where are you?" It's been a long time.
Yeah.
He waited a long time before calling her.
No, she's been calling him throughout the night.
Oh, she has.
Yeah,
Okay.
because like when she was waiting and saw the walking up, she was on phone call
with Peter, with her dreamy boyfriend.
Her dreamy boyfriend.
He's so dreamy.
So dreamy.
This is also where it's like she has a cell phone. Why does she have to be on the phone in the living room in the beginning of the movie? It makes me mad. I've never made it go.
It's DCOM. I feel like we shouldn't let stuff go on this podcast.
Anyway, so they make the deal like, all right, Chelsea for the coffin. So this is where they give the coffin back. All of a sudden, Van Helsing shows up. He puts Taylor in the car with a ton of garlic.
A shit ton of garlic.
Shit ton of garlic.
When Taylor eventually comes in, he doesn't have this garlic with him. He should bring it with him.
Yeah. That's why I wrote, like, I wonder how much he gets paid to hunt the vampires. We kind of talked about that, but
like, he needs to buy garlic.
So much equipment.
And then we're finally getting the fight scene.
Yeah, so this is the fight scene.
The real climax.
So Dimitri sees him and he's like, Van Helsing, like they know each other. They've seen each other. And Dimitri does this like super long jump, and all Van Helsing does is like step out of the way.
He talks and it's great. It's just it's a parry. Yeah. It's like when you're playing a video game and someone's charging right at you, and you just go, haha, and then they get into a bad position. Yeah. Because they expected the hit to hit.
Yeah, so what does Dimitri do? He tries again. He's like, this will surely work the second time. And he jumps again, and Van Helsing just like shuts the door.
Yep.
He shuts the door on him. Because now Dimitri's outside. So Van Helsing shuts the door. And then Dimitri like knocks the door down, and he knocks it on top of Van Helsing. So now Van Helsing's like down. And apparently they like mentioned Budapest. Like they knew each other from Budapest.
So it's been a worldwide vampire. You think Van Helsing is a specific vampire hunter? Is he hunting Dimitri specifically?
He probably like right now his focus is this vampire. There's probably a few.
Well, like tens, hundreds, or thousands?
Hundreds.
That's kind of the range I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Well, catching one is a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
But not like
there's probably multiple hunters.
Like one every year type of deal.
Yeah. Anyway, Taylor comes. He's like, I want to be part of the fight, and he grabs the wooden stake and he just like kind of slaps him with it.
Yeah, this is a whole moment where like
Dimitri's like,
Dimitri could easily react and do something about this, but instead he just stops, turns around, and goes like, "Stop."
Yeah, he's like,
and then he just doesn't get. Maybe this is how you stop a vampire.
Kind of
You just
smack him with the
confuse
wood.
them.
Yeah, you confuse him. And anyway, then Dimitri's like, you're standing up to me. You're 8. And then Taylor looks up at him and goes, I'm 8.5. Snaps for Taylor. This whole time he's been saying, I'm 8, I'm 8. Nah, bitch. He's 8.5.
He's been lying to us the whole time.
Taylor's big moment. Anyway, then Adam starts like hurting Dimitri's ego. He's like, this 8-year-old's standing up to you. You're so lame. I don't know. Whatever.
They're dragging this fight scene out.
Yeah, and then Dimitri goes like, no one can help you because I'm a vampire. And they just do a lot of talking.
And is this the point when Dimitri mind controls the kids?
Yeah, so he
why hasn't he done earlier?
I don't know. And then so they're stuck, they can't move. So they start going, Mom, help me, help.
Trying to get
Snap
the mom
out of
some
it.
love to snap out of it.
Yeah. And then she snaps out of it, and then all of this happens in slow motion. She snaps out of it, she like pushes Dimitri. Van Helsing gets up. He opens up the coffin with Taylor. They both open up the coffin.
They both know this like instinctively.
Somehow they know that this is gonna happen.
She's like in the middle of the push and they're opening the
coffin.
opening
the coffin, so she chucks him in the coffin. Still happening in slow motion. They throw him in the coffin, they shut the coffin, and then Van Helsing goes in his bag and he has this like giant nail gun. And he nails the coffin shut and he's like, there's silver plated nails.
And then after this super drawn out long climax, we get possibly the shortest resolution in a
This
DCOM.
all happens so fast. So they mentioned that only true love can break a vampire's trance. I gotta just put that explanation in. It was pretty obvious that they snapped her out of it, but whatever.
And, like,
true
that
love.
was established in the movie, within the movie.
Yep. Same thing happened.
Yada yada. That was clearly what was gonna happen.
Yep. And then all of a sudden Van Helsing and the mom, they start flirting like hardcore. It's so fast. All this happens so fast. It's like 2 minutes of the movie.
It was honestly less.
Probably
like
less than that.
The last minute after he's stapled in and they say like, you're going to Finland, Mr. Vampire.
Yeah, or he's like, they're going to go somewhere sunny. Yeah, whatever. And he's like, oh, hi, Lynette. I'm Van Helsing. We almost met at the supermarket. And she's like, you want breakfast? I have pancakes.
This is after she goes like, thank you guys for getting me out of the house.
Thank you for getting me out. And they're like, yeah, we love you. And she's like, do you want to come over for breakfast? We'll make pancakes. And like, and he goes, it's a date. And the kids go, no date. And the mom goes, I date, just not vampires. And then like cuts credits and like freeze frames, and then you hear Dimitri like knocking. He's like, hey, let me out.
Yeah.
Let me out. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah,
that's
no,
literally it.
It's like a minute long resolution, which is no time at all to just finally we get a minute of the mom being like, oh man, I was in a trance by a vampire. That's weird. Hey guy, I just met you. You want a date? Cool. Let's go have breakfast. Call back to the beginning of the movie. Thank you. Goodbye.
Honestly. So yeah, that was Mom's Connection to the Vampire. That was the whole movie. It was really an abrupt ending. They really just kind of, with all that kind of filler in the middle, kind of sucks that it ended so fast, but this is what happened. Yeah. So overall, how do you feel?
Rewatching it, I feel like I'm pretty happy with it as a movie. Like, it does the DCOM role. It does feel different than most DCOMs. A lot of it,
it's right in kind of the wheelhouse.
It's a DCOM in the fact that it's a made-for-TV B movie. Mm-hmm. It's not a DCOM in the fact that a lot of the characters are cheerable. That's never a given in a DCOM.
That's true. There's not really a character I hate.
Which is, other than the friend who's barely in the movie.
He's barely in it.
Barely in the movie.
That's in Boomer. But, like, you're supposed to hate Boomer.
Yeah. The special effects are really fun, and they don't do that a lot in DCOMs, but they do that in other B movies. This is still before the era where DCOM formula is that formulaic. They're still playing around with stuff to figure out what a DCOM is. It's a movie from 2000. DCOMs haven't existed for that long.
Right. This is only the 22nd one.
Yeah.
There's been 21 movies on Disney Channel before this one.
So, I can appreciate stuff like that. It feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty average in the rating DCOMs because... Yeah. It's not. I'm trying to think about this. Like, I can appreciate the fact that it's different more so than I did the first time we watched it, because that was the first DCOM we watched at the marathon. We didn't appreciate the fact that it was different that much, but because it felt samey, because it feels like a normal B movie, but it doesn't feel as much as a DCOM. That's how I interpreted it. Um, but there's too much fluff in the movie. Not that there's stuff that's not plot relevant. It's actually all plot relevant.
It all comes together pretty well, actually.
But a lot of it is stuff I don't really care about. The characters did fine acting wise, everything there, but there's nothing really that stands out other than the special effects.
Yeah.
That like would make me want to come back.
Yeah. For me, I feel like this movie is pretty mid, but like the funny moments, the funny like bad moments, because that's what is really appreciative of this movie is the silly special effects. You know, the times where you can laugh at a movie because it's cheesy and it's bad. Those moments are good. I really enjoy those moments. The rest is just kind of mid, but like it had my attention. Like it's better than other Disney Channel original movies where they feel so boring. At least this one, like, they're playing into the silliness more of the vampire stuff. And it all made sense for the most part. There were a couple things like the car where it's like, what? Why didn't they explain that? But like, they reference like the tabloid in the movie a lot. Like, and nothing felt really unnecessary.
It was a tighter plot than a lot of DComs have. Potentially to its detriment, because some of the fun moments it's just stupidity and like this movie could have led to be weirder. I feel like if I liked hillbilly music, maybe that scene would have been better. There's just parts that drag. They stay at the restaurant too long, at the dancing too long.
The dancing is what really dragged on for me.
I don't feel like I understood and empathized with the main two characters' relationship, but like I don't really care about them. I'm just happy that they got showed caring for their mother, and I'm like, I want them to save their mother.
Yeah. No, my favorite part is definitely Taylor. I feel like he stole the show for sure. I'm 8.
I wish him and Van Helsing, because like they had some high highs, but also everything other than I'm 8 and the vampire hunting
that's all
tricks.
they did.
But like the rest of it's like a minute long scene every time I would go to them, and those are like 5 seconds out of those.
Check in with them. They're not actually doing anything, but let's check in what they're doing. But I love Taylor. He was doing great.
For a youngest child in a DCOM trope, he's high tier.
Yeah, he's pretty
This movie in general, I have it before in my after one watch through of every movie rating. Before starting this podcast, I had it low B tier. I might move it up a couple spots into like low mid tier. I had it the 56th ranked overall, but
I have it.
It wouldn't be ranked much higher than that.
I have it in C tier. So just to put some numbers on here. So as a house, what we call Jank House, that was our college house. This movie ranked 61 out of 114. Benji has it at 57, so a little higher. And then I have it a little lower at 70.
Not that different.
Super different. And the main reason was because it was the first movie we watched. It was so long ago. I didn't remember everything from it. It's literally been over 2 years since I've watched this movie.
I'm surprised how well it fit where we put it.
Honestly, yeah, I still pretty much agree where it is.
Like, it's fine.
It's fine. It's
you can do a lot worse for DComs, but also it's not great.
If you're in the mood for a Halloween DCOM, this is not a bad choice.
There are a lot of mediocre and bad Halloween DComs, especially if you don't like Halloween Town, which you might want to watch. Or if you like Halloween Town, you might want to skip those podcasts.
Yeah, we are not a loving Halloween Town podcast, sorry to say.
If you made it this far into the podcast, I'm hoping that we convince you to watch or listen again, and don't just say, you know what, they don't like Halloween Town. Bye, because
hear us out.
It's we're not talking about Halloween Town.
We're not talking about it right now.
We're not talking about it.
Got a Date. Mom's Got a Date is pretty fun.
It's fun. It gives you the spooky vibes. It's cheesy and campy, but not in a way that ever takes away from the emotional beats. There's not really emotional beats, but
I
you
like
can.
the character motivations. I like that it's like a good family motivated film.
It's a movie that, despite us talking for a while about it, there's not really that much to say about it. It's got moments, but as a whole, there's not a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Each scene, something happens, but like, I walk away from the movie and it's like, that existed. It's one of the movies of all time.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on Mom's Gonna Date with a Vampire.
Yeah.
Now comes the part of the show where we are going to spin our special wheel of DCOMs and figure out what we're going to watch next week. Well, not next week, because our plan right now is to release a podcast episode every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're hoping we can stick to that schedule. Obviously, things might change. We've never done this before. Bear with us.
We're gonna give it a good old college try. We're
Yep.
both graduated,
We
but
both
whatever.
graduated, but whatever.
What movie do you think it's gonna be? I think if either of us ever call it out, we owe each other $1 bill.
Okay.
Okay?
I think it's gonna be a Ring of Endless Light.
I think it's gonna be Geek Charming.
Ooh. All right, and just fair warning, we are allowed to re-roll.
Yeah, we have a couple of podcasts already planned with some friends, some guests, and if those come up, we might have to re-roll with some scheduling conflicts. But we should always have our next one planned such that people can watch in advance if they want to.
We would love for you guys to watch along with us. All right, let's spin the wheel. It's spinning. Do 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 do. Halloween Town 2.
So we're watching Halloween Town.
We're watching Halloween Town 1.
So the rule that we've stated before this, we didn't mention it, is if we get a sequel, we just watch the most recent one that we have to watch.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're watching Halloween Town this early. I'm not prepared.
I'm not prepared.
When is that? That's going to come out on Halloween.
Okay, it's fitting.
Hey, it's real fitting.
All right.
It's literally going to come out on Halloween. All right.
So
I'm down.
turns out, if you wanted the answer to why we didn't like Halloween Town,
tune in for our next episode where we talk about how much we don't like Halloween Town.
If anyone out there wants to send any questions in, we would have some time to read off fan questions, fan mail, fan art.
We have an
anything
email.
Of the sort. Yeah. You can email the DCOM Duo, just as spelled as our podcast is, the DCOM Duo at gmail.com. We also have Twitter, TikTok, a bunch of social media accounts. We haven't posted anything there yet as of recording, but we're trying to be somewhat active.
Yeah, we're trying to get some social media going, trying to make this a thing. So look out for us there. We're always going to be called the DCOM Duo. If you want more DCOM content, you can also check out my YouTube channel. It's called Cat Cat Duck. That is my username for most everything. That channel is mostly focused on the songs from DCOM musicals. I like to rank them, so check that out.
If you want to hear more of my voice, I stream occasionally at twitch.tv/thelegendaryBenG.
Great.
Spelled with the letter G.
Thank you so much for listening. If you're still around, we appreciate you.
All right. Take care and see you next time for some Halloween Town.
Halloween Town. All right. DCOM Duo signing out.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.